मित्रों, आज हमारे बीच हैं आध्यात्मिक लेखक गौरांग दर्शन दास। परम पावन राधानाथ स्वामी के शिष्य गौरांग दर्शन दास एक शिक्षक और 30 से अधिक पुस्तकों के लेखक हैं। वो एस्कॉन गोवर्धन इको विलेज यानी जीवी के भक्ति वेदांत विद्यापीठ के डीन भी हैं। वो नियमित रूप से बच्चों, किशोरों और वयस्कों के लिए ऑनलाइन और रेजिडेंशियल स्पिरिचुअल कोर्सेज संचालित करते हैं। उन्होंने आश्रमों, स्कूलों, कॉलेजों, कॉरपोरेट कार्यक्रमों और टेडेक्स, रोटरी क्लब, डीआरडीओ जैसे विभिन्न मंचों पर 7,000 से अधिक घंटे के लिए आध्यात्मिक प्रवचन दिए हैं। इन्होंने 30 से अधिक किताबें लिखी हैं, जिनमें मुख्य रूप से गीता और भागवत पर आधारित है। वो एक पत्रिका है, मासिक ई पत्रिका भागवत प्रदीपिका, उसको भी चलाते हैं। अभी हाल ही में इन्होंने एक बिल्कुल अलग विषय पर एक किताब लिखी है, वो है ध्रुव। ध्रुव का नाम हमने बचपन से ही सुना है, ध्रुव के तारे के रूप में और भक्त ध्रुव के रूप में। तो हम गौरांग दर्शन दास जी से जानेंगे इस किताब के बारे में और उनके बारे में। तो गौरांग दर्शन दास जी, आपका स्वागत है हमारे इस शो में।
Thank you, Samir Goswami ji, for having me in your wonderful show, Kahani Suno. And I'm very grateful to you and your team for organizing this podcast.
सबसे पहले हम शुरुआत करें इस कार्यक्रम की, आपके किताब की ओर हम आए, लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं इससे पहले हम शुरुआत करें आपके जीवन के बारे में। बचपन से लेकर अभी तक जो आपने एक अपनी जर्नी की है, थोड़ा सा ब्रीफली आप वो हमें अगर बताएं तो दैट वुड बी बेटर फॉर आवर ऑडियंस।
So I was born in a simple middle class family in the South India, Andhra Pradesh, and my father had a lot of spiritual inclinations, and he used to read Bhagavad Gita, Venkateswara Suprabhatam, and also Vishnu Sahasranam and other Vedic chants. And my mother is very simple, and they both had great spiritual culture. And I'm very fortunate enough to get some spiritual training from them, and we used to live very close to Lakshmi Narayan temple. So those childhood vibrations were quite strong, and I also studied in a school where we had a compulsory morning program session before we start our classes. We used to have about 45 minutes of a period where we used to recite Bhagavad Gita, Purusha Suktam, and Rudra Namakam, Chamakam, Vishnu Sahasranam, and all that. So we grew up reciting all these scriptures, although we were not very familiar with the meanings. And I also heard Ramayana and Mahabharat to some degree in my childhood. When I was in third standard, I read Ramayana, which was the first book I ever read, the scripture that I ever read. So eventually, when I came to college, my +1, +2, and BTech, my spiritual inclinations went down, and I shifted to Vijayawada, which is a city, and it's not teenage and college. What else you expect? So my spiritual inclination went down, and eventually I just picked up when I came to join masters in the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So when I joined my college, it was August 1st, 2005. They first gave me hostel keys. They said, you first check in into your hostel room and then come back to finish your admission formalities. So I went to my hostel room. I opened the room and I found a very beautiful picture of Lord Krishna. It was a small child Krishna, Murali Krishna, and it was very big in the room. Probably the person who was staying in my hostel room before I joined must have had some liking for that picture. He kept it. So I told the cleaning person, don't remove this picture. Just leave it as it is. I'll complete my admission formalities and come back. So I did that. And after a couple of years, when I came back, the picture is gone. I was so disappointed. And I asked the cleaning guy, so what happened? I told you to keep the picture as it is, and the picture is missing now. Then the cleaning person said something, and I never understood what he said because he spoke in Kannada. I didn't know Kannada. I spoke in Telugu. He didn't know Telugu. And he did not know English. I did not know Hindi. And there was some problem. So, but the conclusion is that I lost the picture. I was disappointed. So one of my aunts who used to live in Bangalore, she said such kind of pictures are available in ISKCON temple. I said, what is ISKCON? She said, ISKCON means Krishna temple. Oh, she did not know the full form, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So that weekend she took me to the temple, and I was searching for that picture. And searching for that picture, I went to ISKCON temple and I found it on a book distribution table. So I went to the stall and asked him, I want this picture. He said, 20 rupees. I said, okay, fine, give me. Then he said, if you take this book, the picture is free. So then they showed me Krishna book that has so many stories of Krishna, right from his childhood till the conclusion of his pastimes. So I took that Krishna book along with that beautiful picture of Krishna and brought it to my room. After a few months, one of my friends saw that picture. So I used to stay in my hostel room and stare at that picture and then read that book once in a while. That's how I was spending time. And one of my friends came to my room and said, are you an ISKCON devotee? I said, what does that mean? And he said, there are some ISKCON devotees in your own college hostel. Would you like to meet them? They're chanting this mantra called Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and they're also reading some Bhagavatam. If you like, you can just join them. I said, I don't mind. So that's how I came connected to the devotees of ISKCON, and eventually I studied Bhagavad Gita. I only recited the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in my childhood, but I started understanding the meanings of all the shlokas when I started reading Bhagavad Gita during my masters. So eventually I became inspired to serve the Supreme Lord Krishna full time without any other obligations. So I took up a job. I worked for 1 year, 9 months only. And eventually I joined Mumbai Temple. That is to cut the long story short, maybe 20, 21 years of my life I have summarized in 3-4 minutes. Okay. When I joined the temple, then I was initiated by His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. And eventually we came to Govardhan Eco Village, which is 100 kilometers away from Mumbai. And we took to the order of monkhood as a brahmachari. We are serving here. In 2012, the temple management instructed me to start a school, a Vaishnava school, an institute that teaches the new joined brahmacharis, monks, in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all such Vedic scriptures. So I started training the newly joined monks in this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So eventually I was inspired to write. So when I was teaching them, I thought I need to provide some material to them. So I'm speaking a chapter. I'm explaining a chapter. I thought, let me give some handouts, some notes for them to refer to later after the class. So like that, I started making a lot of notes, and eventually, by the inspiration of some other devotees, I published that notes also in the form of Bhagavata Subodhani. Then I started writing some more simplified books like Bhagavata Pravaha and some children books like Bhagavatam Tales, mostly based on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And eventually I wrote this book Dhruva recently. And this Dhruva book is also based on Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto. So this is my journey so far.
गुड गुड थोड़ा सा इसी से जुड़ा हुआ क्वेश्चन है, बहुत छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है. लैंग्वेज अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपने बोला वो तेलुगु से आप है, वो कन्नड़ बोलते थे. तो अभी जैसे जो आप लिटरेचर, ये आप जितना भी आध्यात्मिक लिटरेचर है, ये मोस्टली संस्कृत में है या हिंदी में अवेलेबल है? और जैसे अभी ये ध्रुव नॉवेल आप लेकर के आए हैं, इस ध्रुव के बारे में तो इंग्लिश में बहुत ही कम लिटरेचर होगा या किसी अदर लैंग्वेज में. तो आप इसके लिए जो स्टडी करते हैं किसी भी राइटिंग के लिए या किसी भी कंटेंट को तैयार करने के लिए, तो आप कैसे आप इस चीज को स्टडी करते हैं? अदर लैंग्वेजेस के से लेकर के आते हैं या इंग्लिश में ये लिटरेचर आपको रेफरेंसेस के लिए मिल जाता है?
Yes. So Srimad Bhagavatam is written originally by Vedavyas, says
Yes.
Vedavyas. And it's in Sanskrit, of course. Okay. And not only Bhagavatam, he wrote so many Puranas and Vedas and Upanishads and Mahabharata. He wrote so many things, all of them in Sanskrit mostly. Okay. But there are so many Vaishnava acharyas who have translated the Sanskrit scriptures into local languages like Hindi, Telugu, English, etc. So our founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, his name is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So he has translated Srimad Bhagavatam into English. So this is Bhagavatam book, Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's translated into English. Okay.
It is
So
very popular book. Even I have it.
yes, wonderful. So the shloka is given, every meaning of every single word of the shloka is given, translation is given, and also purport and explanation is given. So I studied from this book. And also there are other commentaries written by other Vaishnava acharyas like Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur and all. So they are available in English. So I studied all of them and contemplated, introspected, and based on that, I came up with this book, Dhruva.
ओके, तो फिर आपने जो ये ध्रुव की शुरुआत की है, ठीक है ना, ये किताब आपने लिखा है, आपने गीता और कृष्ण के आसपास रहे हैं, इसी का महाभारत, गीता, कृष्ण, ये लिटरेचर आपने लिया है। ये मुझे लगता है पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है जब इसी कंटेंट को लेकर के, या मैं कहूँ इसी डोमेन में से लेकर के आप आए हैं और ध्रुव को लिया है। कहीं ना कहीं आपने दोनों में रिलेशन बनाया हुआ है, मेरे ख्याल से गीता, महाभारत और ध्रुव में। ये आपके मन में कैसे विचार आया कि आपको गीता, महाभारत और कृष्ण के साथ साथ आपको ध्रुव के बारे में लिखना है, और इतना स्टडी आपको करके लिखना पड़ा? जो
I did not connect Mahabharata, Gita, and Dhruva together. As such, the principles of Bhagavad Gita are very nicely elaborated and explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Gita is not a storybook. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke only principles, concepts to his friend Arjuna, who was a bit confused before the Kurukshetra battle, as everyone knows. So these concepts of bhakti, devotion, karma, jnana, etc., they are more elaborately explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, along with so many stories, historical narrations, right? For example, Krishna spoke about bhakti, sincere, dedicated, unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Lord. He spoke about that in Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, right? So Bhagavatam presents the examples of so many great devotees who have actually imbibed that principle and demonstrated that bhakti in their lives. So one such personality is Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, there are so many such great emperors: Dhruva, Prahalad, Ambarish, Yudhishthir, Parikshit, so Pruthu. So like that, there are so many great kings whose stories are described in Bhagavatam. I picked up Dhruva. So the principles of Bhagavad Gita are definitely there in Bhagavatam, more elaborately explained. So I tried to contemplate deeply on this episode of Dhruva, the story of Dhruva, and also brought out so many principles, definitely based on Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam's philosophy also.
ओके, सो मीन आपने उसी में से एक कैरेक्टर को निकाला, और आई होप कि आगे और कैरेक्टर के बारे में फिर आप लिखेंगे ऐसे जाकर। तो ऐसा जब आपने ध्रुव को, हमने एक इतना डीपली नहीं पढ़ा है, ऐसा कौन सा आपको चीज उनके मतलब अनछुए पहलू है जो हम हिडन ट्रूथ्स है या हिडन चीजें हैं जो आपको लगता है कि एक ऑडियंस के लिए सुनने में अच्छा लगेगा? वो कैसी चीजें बताएंगे?
Yes, essentially your question is why Dhruva? Although there are so many characters, why Dhruva first? So basically I felt that Dhruva is more close to practical life. Of course, all other characters are also giving so many lessons that we can imbibe in our practical life. But the speciality of Dhruva is he started from scratch, right? So, for example, you take Prahalad, another great devotee of Krishna, okay, Vishnu. So he is a born devotee. In fact, before his birth only he was a devotee. Okay, Narada Muni spoke to the mother of Prahalad, right? He spoke so many spiritual subject matters. And Prahalad, while living within the womb of his mother, he has heard all the teachings of Narada Muni and became a great devotee. So there are so many such great devotees whose stories are described in Bhagavatam. But Dhruva is unique in the sense that he did not begin to worship Lord Vishnu with selfless intentions. He was selfish. He had so many material ambitions, right? So we say that Lord has to be worshipped without any selfish desires, without any material motivations, without any ulterior agendas. But Dhruva began his worship of Vishnu with some material motives. And in fact, the story of Dhruva also kind of resembles the stories of many common human beings who face some difficulties in life. So let me tell you the story of Dhruva slightly, just to begin, so that you get the connection. Dhruva's father was King Uttanapad, and he had two wives, Suruchi and Suniti. Okay, Suniti was the elder wife, and as the name suggests, Suniti. Niti means morality, right?
Yeah.
Niti means morality. But generally, people are not excited with morality; they're excited with taste. For example, doctor tells you, "Don't take this food items; they are not good for your health." That is morality. Okay, lesson. But the food items are very tasty. That's good for the tongue. Okay, so the patient may take those very food items which the doctor prohibited, right? So, like somewhat similar to that, Uttanapad also is more attached to his younger wife Suruchi and neglected his older wife Suniti. He
Okay.
neglected Suniti and he liked Suruchi. Suniti's son is Dhruva, our hero, and Suruchi's son is Uttama, Dhruva's stepbrother. So Uttanapad neglected Dhruva because he's the son of Suniti. So neglect from parents. Okay. And one day he was trying to sit on father's lap, and Suruchi came and then became furious on Dhruva, and she chastised him, scolded him, hurt him, and he was pained at heart. So because he was not allowed to sit on father's throne, he was not allowed to sit on father's lap, he became so ambitious that he developed a desire to sit in a position which is superior to his great grandfather Brahma also. Right? I want to sit in a position which no one has occupied ever in the history, universal history. So, with that material motive, he worshipped Vishnu. So, now this kind of difficulties in life and being overly ambitious. So, these are common for many people. And later he realized his mistakes. So, initially he worshipped the Lord with some revengeful feelings towards his stepmother Suruchi. He was very envious of his stepbrother Uttama, right? He was very pained at heart. So, with all these common human emotions, he approached the Lord, but later he was purified of all those ill motives. So, basically, in short, I chose Dhruva because it is more close to practical life. It depicts a wide range of human emotions, and it speaks about somebody who started his spiritual journey and material journey both from scratch and accomplished something unimaginable. Dhruva is very successful spiritually and materially in both ways, right? Materially, he attained what he wanted to attain, the great position in this world, and spiritually also he got the darshan of Lord Vishnu. Okay, so he is very successful, and the success did not come overnight for him. He worked hard for it with great determination. So the principles of determination, the qualities of commitment showed by Dhruva will inspire the younger generation. That's why I have chosen this. And many people know Dhruva as a child, but not many people know his activities as an emperor. When Dhruva became little grown up, he was made the emperor of the kingdom. And how did he act as an emperor? So that's amazing. And Dhruva story also depicts a wide range of emotions, relationships, mother-son relationship. When Dhruva was so disappointed, his mother Suniti inspired him, gave him some direction, induced some positivity in his negative mind, right? Mother-son relation, wife-husband relation, father-son relation, brothers-brothers relation between a teacher and a student, guru and disciple, guru and sishya, and relationship between all of us and the Lord and God. So, and also Dhruva presents so many emotions like ambition, satisfaction, failure, success, grudge, forgiveness, revenge, love. So many emotions, right? So what
And so
else?
many characters into the Dhruva.
Yes, yes. So
Uh,
many
uh,
characters are there.
so many characters inside him.
So
So,
naturally, I chose.
for audience, I would like to just show your novel which you published. This is the novel, ध्रुवा. अभी आपको सुन के लगा मुझे कि मुझे इस नॉवेल को पढ़ना है. आपने इसमें लिखा भी है ध्रुवा, रिलेशनशिप एंड सक्सेस सूत्रास फ्रॉम द स्टोरी ऑफ अ सेलिब्रेटेड प्रिंस. सो दिस इज रियल बिकॉज मैं उनको बच्चे के तौर पर ही जानता हूं, बट एक राजा के तौर पर, एक किंग के तौर पर नहीं जानता. डेफिनेटली.
How did he attain pole star, Dhruva Tara?
हाँ,
So that story not many know.
ये
Mentioned
ये
it there.
ये भी इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट है कि वो कैसे, तो ये ऑल दीज फैक्ट्स आर इन दिस बुक.
Yes, yes, of course.
कैसे उन्होंने फिर राजा बने, कैसे
Yes.
उन्होंने रिवेंज लिया या नहीं लिया, और उन्हें जो वरदान के लिए उन्होंने अपनी भक्ति की थी वो वरदान मिले मिला, ये सारी चीजें हैं. इट्स इन
Yes.
ड्रामेटिक फॉर्मेट और इट्स इन मीन नरेटिव फॉर्मेट.
So I narrated the story, and during the narration of the story, I also highlighted principles mainly centered on relationships and success sutras. Because many times we hear the story, storytelling is nice, but what can we learn from the story? What are the practical principles that the story is depicting? What can I imbibe? What values and virtues can I imbibe by reading this story? So that also is an important aspect of the book. And at the end of every chapter, I have summarized all of them in the form of pearls of wisdom. You see, pearls of wisdom.
Yeah.
There are the most important lessons of the book, lessons of that
Okay.
chapter. And in between also, for example, the glory of the Lord's character here. So this is the storyline, the big paragraph is storyline, and there are some small italics, right? Every now and then they keep coming. So they are like lessons. See, this is a small lesson. So this kind of italics also highlighted. So storytelling, along with lessons and principles that the story is teaching us, along with some pearls of wisdom at the end for us to reflect, revise, introspect, ruminate, right?
तो इफ आई से कि ये एक कंप्लीट पैकेज है किसी भी रीडर के लिए. स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी है, सेल्फ हेल्प भी है, रिलेशन भी है, वर्किंग के सफलता के सूत्र भी इसमें है, ठीक है ना, मोरलिटी भी इसमें है. और अगर वैसे बात करें तो एक व्यक्ति ऐसा है जो निगेटिव से थॉट से, निगेटिव माइंडसेट से पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट की तरफ जाता है. जो अगर हम उनके, जो आपने बताया रिवेंज लेने का, तो उस वक्त वो ही वाज काइंड ऑफ विलेन, बट आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पीरियड और ग्रोन ही बिकेम अ हीरो, राइट. तो वो सारी जर्नी उनकी है फ्रॉम द विलेन टू हीरो, वो भी इसमें सारा कुछ है. इट्स अ रियली गुड बुक.
Yeah, actually, we may not call him villain. He became very revengeful and angry and envious of his stepbrother and stepmother out of his childhood innocence. When that insult happened to Dhruva, he was just 5 years old.
हाँ, हो.
5-year-old boy was insulted by his stepmother, and then he embarked on a great journey into the forest to worship Lord Vishnu. And Narada Muni, a great sage, guided him. And before Narada Muni, his own mother Suniti guided him. And within 6 months, he attained success. Even a 5-year-old boy within 6 months can attain success if there is determination and devotion and proper.
मैंने पढ़ा है कहीं एक पैर पर खड़े होकर के और पैर को घुटने, दूसरे पैर को घुटने पर रख के उन्होंने पूरे टाइम प्रार्थना की थी. ये हमें ध्रुव के बारे में पता है, लेकिन सरफेस लेवल का पता है, उथला डीप जो आपने बताया, ये क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग है. और मुझे लगता है कि इस आपको सुनने के बाद हर एक को लगेगा कि ये बुक जरूर पढ़ना चाहिए. और ज्यादा इतनी, मैं जो बुक को देख पा रहा हूँ, मैंने पहले भी लिए रखी हुई है, और पेंगुइन ने इसको प्रकाशित किया है आपकी बुक को. अच्छा सब बुक है, अच्छा प्रिंट है, कहीं पर कोई परेशानी नहीं होती है. तो सारे जो मेरी ऑडियंस है वो बिल्कुल डेफिनेटली, इतना आपने सस्पेंस और इंटरेस्ट क्रिएट कर दिया है अभी बातों में कि मुझे ये लग रहा है मैं रात भर में, आज रात को मैं सिर्फ इसी बुक को खत्म करूंगा और कुछ नहीं पढ़ना है। तो रियली ये बहुत अच्छी बुक है। कुछ और आप दर्शकों से जो इस इंटरव्यू को देख रहे हैं आपके साथ कहना चाहेंगे, और भविष्य में आप और कौन सी बुक लेकर के आएंगे, इसके बारे में आप कुछ बताना चाहेंगे?
Hmm. So, in this book, Dhruva, in the story of Dhruva, there are so many wonderful sutras to enhance our relationships, right? So, generally, we understand we should be very empathetic, sympathetic, soft spoken in our dealings with others to keep our relationships on. We need to extend ourselves to help them when they are in need, and we need to value their contributions in our lives. All this is great. But in this Dhruva story, Dhruva's guru Narada teaches him one very, very important principle of how to deal with people in this world. Whomever you meet in this world, they belong to one of these three categories. They are more qualified than you, either in age or experience or talents or skills or resources or position or whatever it may be. They are better than you. They are greater than you. For convenience, call them seniors. Okay. Second category, juniors. So you are more experienced than them. You are more aged than them. So they are in some way little lesser than you. So they are your juniors. Then third, equals or colleagues. Seniors, juniors, equals. So these are the three categories of people whom we meet in this world, right? They're better than us, or we are better than them, or they're equal to us. Only three categories, right? So how to deal with them? I'll keep it short. When you meet a person who is greater than you, we should not envy that person, but we should take inspiration from that person. Let me learn from this person. He knows more than me. He is better than me. Let me learn from this person. That should be our thought process. Second, when you meet a person who is less qualified than you, when you meet a person who is junior to you, younger than you, or not so experienced like you, don't oppress them or suppress them or dominate them. Please help them. Be compassionate upon them. Be kind. Extend your helping hand. Right? Third, when you meet a person who is equally qualified like you, who is your colleague, who is equal, then don't confront or compete with them. Make friendship with them. In short, when you meet a person who is better than you, don't envy, but learn from them. When you meet a person who is younger than you or junior to you, don't dominate them, but be kind and extend your helping hand. Then when you meet a person who is equal to you, then make friendship with them. Don't compete with them. Don't pull them down.
Very
So this
good.
is important sutra, just to give a taste. Like that, there are hundreds of sutras in the story.
थैंक यू गौरांग दास जी। ये लास्ट आपने जो मुझे बताया और ऑडियंस को बताया, बहुत बड़ा सूत्र है। बाकी हम आपको किताब को पढ़ेंगे और मेरी ऑडियंस पढ़ेगी और आपको इसके बारे में जरूर फीडबैक देंगे। आप हमारे शो में आए, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। फिर कभी एक बार आपके साथ मुलाकात जरूर करेंगे। थैंक यू।
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samir Goswami ji. Very nice to have you. Hare Krishna.
कहानी सुनो।